Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ruckus and The Menace podcast. I am Ruckus.
And I'm Spence the Menace.
And tonight we are counting off the 9th episode of the podcast. Also, shout out to Alex the Man 47. It's just Alex Man 47, but I call him Alex the Man because he is the man for making our graphics and our icon that you see now. But we're gonna kick things off with wondering how you doing, Spence? How you doing?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I mean, we've had quite a bit. I mean, just quite a bit has gone on. Where to begin? I mean, there's definitely some where to begin as far as schedule changes that are coming up with work that's going to adjust some things, and then doing the first kick of Mario Strikers Battle League this weekend, keeping up with the latest Pokemon news that just came out today. Played a little pub trivia last Thursday. Going to go back this week and play. But I've watched a couple of things as well. I did watch Top Gun Maverick. 36 years of sequel waiting. For all of you that are old enough for that,
I heard that movie was good.
Yes, it really is. And Tom Cruise doesn't look like he's aged a bit, but we know how much that's fabricated. I mean, the dude's almost 60, for crying out loud, and still doing these movies.
I never really saw the appeal, but I'm gonna probably watch the first one soon, and then probably watch the Maverick movie later on.
Oh, it really, they did a great job of making a lot of the first one canon between the two movies, so you're not really dealing with like a true side story. It's like a continuation of some certain things, but it's not a direct continuation.
So you could watch it and not like be spoiled really at all. It's just kind of like a cool. They're doing jets and blowing crap up. Probably. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Not necessarily. I would say I still will recommend you watch the first one for context. There are some things that do require you to watch the first one for context.
Okay. All right.
Kind of like how with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it practically required you to watch WandaVision for context.
Yeah.
As far as how did Wanda end up in this dilemma, or end up in her position in Doctor Strange? So yes, watching back does give you context. Okay. Which helps with deeper understanding of the film.
Yeah, I'll make sure to watch the first one then and get that, and then get ready for Maverick. I'm kind of excited, but yeah. What else have you been looking at or doing?
Well, another one that both you and I mutually had been doing. I went on my own first. I finally caved. I've started Avatar: The Last Airbender, which, granted, Nickelodeon animated kids, but I'm actually watching Avatar: The Last Airbender on my own, going through it, just watching it like occasionally during my lunch break. So nothing too exciting there. But my girlfriend and I have also been watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I see that you have as well.
I'm gonna be honest, I was waiting for this series, but in a good way. I think it's a good direction for the Star Wars genre on Disney as far as like streaming. Because like I watched The Mandalorian and then I just got kind of bored of after season 2. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, I grew up on the prequels to this. So like seeing Ewan, is it Ewan or Evan? I feel like it's Ewan McGregor.
It's Ewan McGregor. Yep.
Seeing him talk to Anakin was probably like the most iconic thing besides just seeing the Clone Wars arena battle sequence over and over and over. Because I used to like watch that while I would eat mac and cheese. Shout out Crash Mac and Cheese. Um, just watching that sequence because it was so cool just seeing all the Jedi just take out all the droids and stuff. But anyways, I really loved the. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I love the direction it goes, and I love how they implemented things. That's all I'm gonna say. It doesn't feel like there's something that shouldn't be there, is what I'm trying to get at.
It kind of runs. It kind of runs very much. Although there's two different characters involved, it kind of involves roughly around the same setting of what may end up being of what ultimately is the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order set, which that game's got a new game coming out next year called
I'm
Star Wars
also
Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor. When does that come out? Sorry.
That's going to be next year.
Ooh.
So
I'm kind of excited for that. I haven't seen gameplay, but I heard some rumblings about it, but I haven't seen a lot. But yeah.
yeah, I played through Fallen Order, so
I beat Fallen Order, but I played it on story mode because I didn't like dying a lot. Yeah, yes, I am a noob, but I wanted to know how the game ended and also play at my own pace because I kind of suck at those games where it's super difficult.
I think I played it on normal. So
I started on normal and then I realized I was dying a lot, so I was like, screw this. I just want to get through the game.
yeah. But Ruckus, what else have you been getting into?
Well, as far as things have gone, besides watching Obi-Wan, I finally finished the Evil Dead series. So I never watched it, and then and then my buddy was like, "You gotta watch this series. It's awesome." So I watched the first one, the second one, and then Army of Darkness, and they are all pretty good. My favorite is Evil Dead 2. I know there's a game adaptation of that, and I've seen
Yep.
gameplay on Twitch, and it looks pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Speaking of video games, this isn't gonna come to a surprise to anybody, but I've been playing a lot of MLB The Show, as you've heard multiple episodes in.
Haven't we all? Haven't we
Um,
both?
I got the rest of the holiday program done because I wanted to pwn Spinnis and use the Roy Halladay card, even though we probably both have it by now. But
You didn't beat me to it. I got there before you.
yeah, that's fine. I'll still
I think
probably beat you.
I think I had Holiday last week, so
I have
I did.
Shohei and you don't, so it's all good. Anyways, on also other games besides just MLB The Show, I played some more Battlefield 2042, and I mainly just get on it, like I probably said in other episodes, just to do the weekly challenges to get the free skin that they give you or whatever. And recently they had some news about bringing some new maps, which are the maps from the Portal version of the game for like older maps, like from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield Bad Company 2. Um, and I just also play it with my good friend overseas. Um, Other than that, was really. I also played a little bit of GTA, but I've been just kind of playing a bunch of different games. I got back into Madden a little bit, but other than that, that's all I've been up to.
All right. Now that we've kind of gotten the off topic portion of this out of the way, you think we're ready to finally give them what they came here for?
Hey, Spinnis, can I get a hell yeah?
Um, Not this time. I just said let's just go ahead and get right to giving them what they want. Let's get down to the business and the
All
brass
right.
tacks of it all.
Let's do it.
So first of all, we're gonna go right. I'm just gonna get right down to it. the NHL playoffs. We are now in the conference finals as we have Edmonton winning the Battle of Alberta, beating out Calgary Flames. And on Tuesday night, they had game one of the Western Finals against the Colorado Avalanche, where they lost 8-6. I think the Avs are probably going to win that one in about 6 games. I think Edmonton will win a couple, but I think the Avs are just going to score a lot. If games are going to stay this high scoring, it's just going to be a matter of who keeps up with the pace. Now tonight, we just had the conclusion of the East Finals game 1, where the New York Rangers are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Rangers defeated the Lightning 6-2. I honestly, though the Rangers are a really, really good team, I think the Lightning will probably win this one in 7, in my prognostication of it. But the Rangers do have home ice, and the winner of both of those matchups will be taking on each other for the Stanley Cup. But
Sweet.
now that we've kind of got, and on some other obscure sports notes of stuff that is currently out of season as we're now closer to summer, Darvin Ham has been named the Lakers head coach. Ruckus, do you think this is a big, little, or no deal at all for the Lakers?
I mean,
as where they're
as
set
far
for next year.
as I mean, the first year with Vogel, they won the championship, but it was I feel like it was more just the fact that they had an easier time with that year because it was a COVID year and they were dealing with a bubble and they had every team was kind of starting back out because of that. The second year wasn't so good because, Westbrook and the others weren't really, it seemed like they weren't getting along or clicking. So with Darvin Ham, I don't know much about the guy, but from what I can tell, it sounds like it's a, to me, it might be a little bit of a deal, but honestly, it's probably better than having Steve Nash as your head coach.
Taking the Brooklyn Nets dig.
I'm just saying because it seems like that whole time that Steve Nash was quote unquote coaching with the Nets, he wasn't really dictating anything or really having his say. It was more like the players more than the coach. That's why I say that, but it is what it is, in my opinion.
I'm gonna say this honestly. I think the Lakers ultimately have, though getting Darvin Ham was important for getting a coach that could work with the team that's there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have bigger fish to fry.
Oh, most
and one of,
definitely.
and one of them is going to have to be doing something with Russell Westbrook. So honestly, I think this is no deal at all, just simply because we really don't know what Darvin Ham is as a head coach. We don't know a whole lot about the vision of what he knows and can do with those type of players on a basketball floor.
Yeah, and I saw a rumor on I I don't remember where it was, probably Facebook or Twitter, but it was a trade negotiation between Brooklyn and Los Angeles for Kyrie Irving and Russell Wilson, but it wasn't really official
Russell
or anything.
Westbrook. Wilson's the quarterback of the Broncos.
God dang it, I said Wilson, my bad. Russell Westbrook.
Come on.
Russell.
We have enough Russes going on. Can we please just let one of them cook and one of them look like Franklin?
By the way, Russell Wilson, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't, or listening to this, I apologize, but that's hearsay, so my bad, people. We're all human. Next one, please.
Okay. So my question to you is do you want us to go toward football or baseball?
Let's go football first.
Okay, so football, we've got three different stories going on here. The one you had mentioned, of course, with the online fan controlled football league, T.O. becomes the first player to be traded in the league, being sent from the Zappers, where he was playing with Johnny Manziel, to another team.
Maybe he just didn't want. Maybe he just didn't want the added drama with Manziel. Who knows? But that's hearsay.
I just think there was not enough popcorn to get ready, and we know how much T.O. loves him some T.O.
Most definitely.
What? What? I mean, I mean, it's kind of a fun thing to do to say I love me some me to a fault. Just I think T.O. relishes in that a little bit too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like we all are prone to that every now and again.
Yeah. I didn't get a whole lot of To as far as like who he was, but I could see who he was near the end on Sports Center when he would complain. But that's that's just how it was back in
Kind
the
of
day.
thinking you were born in what year?
All right, for the record, I was born in '97. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, so T.O. would have been in his second year of the league when you were born.
Yeah, when I
T.O.
was barely
was
a
just
fetus.
starting to hit prominence when you were a kid,
Yep.
and was starting to become this creature of controversy that he became.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were a toddler when he was signing the Sharpie and doing the pom poms, and
I was barely saying my first words whenever he was starting to cause drama. Okay, I don't even remember my first word to be honest, but that's hearsay. I think it was construction or something like that.
it certainly wasn't get you popcorn or ready. So, so we'll leave it at that.
I probably nommed
Uh,
on some popcorn, but yeah.
Beside the point, we've digressed. All right, now that we've gone a little bit too far off the rails, um, Dan Snyder and Roger Goodell are set to testify at a congressional hearing in 3 weeks, as ultimately this investigation and everything else that's kind of surrounded this more has been brought into the light, and this whole thing has gained more public interest and public pressure. I would not be surprised if a good amount of this were Commanders fans. You know, I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat waiting for Dan Snyder to be forced out so that the Washington Commanders can be prominent again.
By the way, are you glad that you saved the money on a heated seat on Amazon for this?
I wasn't necessarily say I didn't necessarily invest that money into a hot seat. I always go for the cool throne.
so so either way, you saved money. It's all good. It's all good. Cause you sounded like you were mad.
Oh no, no, I was kind of like going into that whole adding that in there, adding the whole Washington Commanders fans in there for added effect.
Yeah.
It was completely added effect. I got close to the mic trying to actually push the added effect along.
Yeah, maybe the new stadium will make things better, but who knows?
And come to think of it, that and looking like they're running that plot of land, the plot of land that they got was actually, I think they were trying for a Prince William County or like a Woodbridge area type of thing.
I
Put some
saw the
further out of them.
I saw the illustrations for it, and it looked pretty legit. But we'll have to see what the end product
Seems
is.
legit. Seems legit, but who knows what kind of delays that may end up now having just simply because of this mess.
They might have to stew in their own sewage. Sorry, not
Honestly,
sorry.
honestly, I'm just waiting for the NFL and all the owners and everybody else that ultimately has this whole thing in their hands to get rid of Dan Snyder and finally drain the swamp. I know, because we kind of need to get Shrek out of there.
What are you doing in me swamp, donkey? That's all I think about whenever you say that, just so you know.
That was kind of where I was going with that, but I was comparing Dan Snyder to Shrek.
Donkey! And
Oh
that's all I'm
man.
gonna say with that.
Oh, well, now we have more NFL legalese type of issues going on with lawsuits and investigations and all this. As now a 23rd woman has now come forward in the whole Deshaun Watson debacle that's been going on for the last couple of years.
And I feel like it was originally 21 or 22.
It has been a climbing number. It was like a climbing number that had maintained itself at 22 for at least a couple of months now.
Man,
But
Deshaun Watson one upped Tiger Woods on this one by a lot. Just
the only difference with this is that Deshaun Watson is a single man. Tiger Woods was just
he was balling.
well, infidelity, and he was already married as well when he was probably doing half of it. So that kind of added even more to the dirtbag file on Tiger Woods. I mean, granted,
Sorry, Tiger.
I mean, that just it kind of just piled on at that point. What else can I really say?
Not much.
But the two bigger questions for this, now that this has kind of come forward and has added, and the Browns have done all of this stuff to try and get Deshaun Watson in, and they even paid this man his money. What does this do for, number one, Deshaun Watson's future as an NFL quarterback? And number two, what is this saying really for the future plans of Baker Mayfield?
Number one, I feel like I feel like he's probably gonna be banned for a while, kind of like Josh Gordon was for him and the Browns.
Well, when Josh Gordon's case, it was just he couldn't, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, stay off the weed.
I mean, he also couldn't stay off of many other drugs, but
the alcohol for that matter.
But let's be honest here. Josh Gordon had a lot more problems, and yes, it was more like substance abuse rather than like abusing like women or whatever. But like, let's be honest here. It's the NFL. They're probably gonna, from what I hear, they're probably gonna suspend him for a season. But like, we also don't know whether or not he was guilty of these things. And I'm not going to get into the whole legal situation of it and the details of it, but he pled not guilty on the first big trial that he had, and then now there's more to it. You don't know whether or not he is guilty of that. But also, it was a big risk that the Browns made even before he was said not guilty on that first big trial that he had, like during the time that he got traded from Houston to the Cleveland Browns and then signed the big extension. which they could still probably void at this point. And if they don't, then that's just like a big, like, I'm just gonna say that's a big L or a big oof, as the kids say.
Yeah. But I think what this does for Deshaun Watson as a quarterback, it puts this season now into a little bit. It puts more question marks on the season for him. But this also kind of puts Baker Mayfield in limbo. Like he's in limbo. Like I mean, he's already kind of in limbo because he wants out of Cleveland.
Let's be
But
honest here. Like, with the whole Cleveland thing, yes, he talked about on a podcast that he was saying that he wanted to be out, or maybe he just didn't like how things were going. But here's the thing: we don't know who's gonna take him. He's near the point where he wants a out of his rookie contract and wants a big payday from some team. But as far as the media is concerned, no one has really like said anything as far as, oh, we're gonna take Baker because of this, that, or whatever. It's been more of just drama with Cleveland, yes, but show that to Browns fans and everyone else, because you really haven't shown it since the season where last season before, when you were in the divisional with the Chiefs and lost. And saying that as a Chiefs fan, that's probably obviously biased, but also you're you need to show out more than what you're doing now, because obviously you didn't make the playoffs last year, and that was on other factors. But yeah, you need to show up.
it's like as if he's all dressed up with no real place to go. He
And like
really
go ahead.
he's ready for business. He's ready for business. But the only the only business that really wants or that really needs to deal with him is right where he is because there's too much uncertainty in the situation. What if all
Also,
this comes forward? What if all this comes forward? Deshaun Watson suspended. That's now kind of putting Baker Mayfield in a little bit of a stuck between a rock and a hard place where he really he wants to start for this team that he doesn't want to play for. But at the same time, he's also in a situation where the quarterbacks were so mobile in terms of where they went this offseason that a team that was desperately in needing of a quarterback was going out and getting somebody other than Baker.
yeah, and like the thing is, the Browns are banking on uh Watson to pretty much just not get into legal trouble and just play. But another thing is, if you had a backbone in Baker for the longest time before Watson, and the one kryptonite for Baker was he didn't have very many people to throw to, but also he was pretty much getting into passing trouble. And that showed in the first week versus the Chiefs, where he was passing some of the time, but he was using Nick Chubb and the other guys he had, but he could have established the run more as Troy Aikman would say, but like still, like, come on, like, he needs more talent. But Jarvis Landry and Odell were like pretty much gone due to injury or whatever, but like you can't just rely on those two. You gotta have more people up in front with you, and they are gone now, but like you need throwing arm, or you need people to throw to, not throwing arms. Because like you had throwing arms before with Case Keenum and some others, but now Keenum is with the Bills, and Baker's just kind of like chilling there in an awkward island that he thinks he's in. I think he needs to grow up and just deal with what he has, because he had to grow up whenever he got suspended for a little bit of a game in his senior season at Oklahoma. And yes, I do remember that because Kyler Murray played like the first drive and then he played in as a senior. But grow up, dude. Play the game. You're being paid more than I am as a human being. Grow up.
Yeah. I just think Baker Mayfield overall, he's in a very tough spot. It's a very tough spot because you're right there as the next man up just in case something serious comes about of this. And I
Which
think
it
that
has.
which the monkey wrench has just been applied. Has just been applied. It's not taken any bolts out yet that can cause the whole thing to fall and leave Baker Mayfield to have to fix it. So I mean, it's it's a tight spot. And really, if Baker Mayfield is going to be the starting quarterback in Cleveland again after all of this year, simply put, for him is one thing, and you know exactly what I'm going to say here: put up or shut up.
Also, with that, I feel like it was more filler from ESPN saying that he was doing this and then adding more drama to it. So, but I agree with what you're saying.
But still in perspective. Still in perspective.
Right.
Basically what I'm saying here is that Baker Mayfield, if he gets any bit of action in the regular season or anything involving this Deshaun Watson thing, this year for him is a year where you put up or shut up. If you put up what you need to, a team will definitely come after him in the offseason, especially if they get Deshaun Watson back and don't have to deal with any more drama.
And or
If
they take Baker back because they don't know because like at this point you don't know if Deshaun's gonna be suspended for a year or put in jail for a while.
That's why I'm saying it's like, okay, you've got this there, or even heck, next next year you've got a great quarterback class coming in. Maybe Baker Mayfield has a good season. He become it becomes trade fodder. It becomes trade fodder for the Browns to eventually draft a quarterback.
There you go. Yeah.
Like it become like basically that's why I said this is a put up or shut up year for him, simply because Baker Mayfield needs needs trade value. He needs value. He needs value for teams to even pursue a trade.
Yeah.
And this next draft class's possible quarterbacks ready to enter is deep. It's a more bountiful quarterback class than it was a year ago. So honestly, the market's going to be super high for a quarterback at that time. What if maybe Cleveland all of a sudden sees an answer in a potential answer in what's there coming in, getting ready to come in, that they just say, "See you, Baker." I mean,
Yeah.
it that is why this season ultimately has to be that type of year for Baker Mayfield. And you're going to probably hear me say this a lot, especially when it comes to contracts and things like that, or different things of what I would call a put up or shut up year. I mean, that basically my definition of a put up or shut up year is this is a year, it's a year in a player's career where they're stuck at a crossroads. Either put up what you need to win games and do things to add your value, or you have no room to talk and the reputation leaves you as like a permanent backup or something like that.
Yeah. For example, Antonio Brown. But yeah.
I don't think necessarily Antonio Brown ever had what was really a put up or shut up year in his career. I know Mitchell Trubisky had to deal with that with the Bears for a put up or shut up year. But right now, probably the biggest example of currently of what I would call a put up or shut up year is Baker Mayfield this season. Now shifting from the gridiron to the sandlot, the youngest son of 7-time Cy Young winner Roger Clemens, Cody, was called up by the Detroit Tigers this week. He wore Rogers' old number of 21, and he hit 0 for 3. He hit 0 for 3 with a walk and a couple strikeouts in his debut. And I'm actually looking up the box score for tonight. They went into a 5-4 win.
By the way, what position does he play?
He's kind of alternated around. He debuted at second base. He was at left field today.
So he's more of a utility guy?
Yeah, he's kind of a utility guy. He again went 0 for 3 today. He went 0 for 3 today.
Can he pitch, or is he just more of a utility?
He is fully a position player.
Okay.
Unlike the Rocket, this son of Roger Clemens cannot pitch.
At least he knows his strengths. That's good.
I mean, he's not like the highest ranked prospect the Tigers have either. So This is kind of one of those where they're kind of doing this based on need. The Tigers are not necessarily. The Tigers are 20-30 right now, so they're trying to get any sort of semblance of something, if that makes any bit of sense at all. So they're kind of trying to see what they have. But now we go into the uniform watch, as now another team has unveiled their Nike City Connect uniforms. Themed around the Rocky Mountains, the Colorado Rockies have decided to drop into the realm of it with green in the jersey and pants, along with the subtle amount of purple in the hat, the CO for Colorado and in the hat as well. But Ruckus, is the Colorado City Connect uniform a rocket or a drop it?
Honestly, I'd rock it because it looks amazing from what I can tell. And to me, it reminded me of the Coors beer, as far as Coors Light and whatnot. And I honestly think it fits what they're going for as far as the uniform itself. I would rock it.
Sorry, those mountains are not turning blue when Colorado is on a cold streak. No, that does not remind you of Coors Light at all. The green is nice, but it just does not fit with the color scheme of the Rockies. I will say this: the hat looks great. I really like the hat. The jersey, it's, to me, it's mid, but those pants have gotta go. I'm gonna say the pants are a drop. The jersey, I drop, but the hat is good. I actually like the hat more than I do the rest of anything else with that. And I am sure that MLB The Show is going to have some sort of Colorado Rockies City Connect thing so we can get it in Diamond Dynasty. We just don't know when.
Probably soon, rather than later.
All right, so now that we've kind of gotten through a little bit of what has gone on currently in sports, I'm now going to take us back in time. And a lot of these are going to be on the Wayback Machine with sports history. And there's definitely some things that we're going to have some commentary about. All of these events that I'm speaking on today happened on this day, June 1st. In 1917, Boston Braves player Hank Gowdy becomes the first active MLB player to enlist in World War One. He also was the only one to ever fight in both World War One and World War Two. I mean, you had a lot of players that would do that. Like, there were a lot of players that were known for doing this, where they would take some time off of their season to fight in the military. It was more commonly, you hear more commonly about the ones done in World War II, though.
Most definitely.
Yeah, because I'm going to look up. Yeah, looking up some MLB players who fought in World War II here. Players who served in World War II. Hank Greenberg notably fought in World War II. Yogi Berra was in World War II. Bob Feller, Warren Spahn. So a lot of these players that were in, like, that we would regard as legends in today's game, especially those that came from like the 30s and 40s, they were great baseball players that at a time where patriotism and serving your country in terms of war and even a draft, and even in certain cases a draft, were more prominent, they were willing to go out and fight for their and fight for Uncle Sam, pretty much.
Most definitely, especially if you're like, because it was even before, other than like just sports, a lot of men fought for the war, and they needed women to take over for like restaurants and stuff. Like Fritz's, for example, was a big one. That's what started like the automated uh train track restaurant, and it's most famous in Kansas City for some reason, but Fritz's is like that. But yeah, I agree. Stuff like that was taken into account.
In 1925, the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig, who we will have an MLB The Show program for, officially pinch hit for Pee Wee Reese to begin the 2,130 consecutive game streak that he did to earn his nickname. Cal Ripken Jr. passed that streak in 1995 and became the Iron Man. And then in 1982, the Man of Steel, Rickey Henderson, became the fastest player to 50 stolen bases in an MLB season. I mean, granted, there were a couple of times where Rickey Henderson would steal 100 bases in a season.
And or
Like,
just steal the base.
oh yeah, there was that too. I mean, you would know that there was a 100% chance that if Rickey Henderson were playing in today's game and was able to successfully steal a base during a World Series game, you know we'd be getting free Doritos Locos Tacos at Taco Bell every time.
That's only if they were in the postseason, though.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I love me some tacos from Taco Bell. Please sponsor us, Taco Bell.
I heard that. I heard that. More, not so much a Taco Bell guy myself, but that Mexican pizza that they just brought back is still pretty darn good.
I like me a classic taco with some Diablo sauce and some bean burritos.
All right, but in 1980, the last one is in 1987. Phil Negro gets win 314 in his career. His brother Joe had had 216 career wins, so they have the most wins in MLB history by pretty much brothers who pitched, with 530 wins. So that was one thing about the Negros, and that they could pitch baseballs, and they did it for an extremely long time.
Yep, and they also could run too with Shoeless Joe Jackson. I believe. Um,
I I think the Negros were before. I think Phil and Joe Negro were before Shoeless Joe.
I was just thinking the Negro Leagues, to be honest.
No, not that spelling. Not that. No. We're not even talking that spelling. We're talking Negro as in Niekro.
Oh,
Like,
my bad, my bad, my bad.
yeah, this is a completely different set of guys. Like, these guys are brothers. Like, related bloodline.
Oh, okay, yeah. Obviously, I didn't know, so I thought we were talking about that. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Rest easy, Phil Necro, who passed away in December of 2020. And then, of course, Knuckleball, of course, most famous for Necro, most famous for his knuckleball, or at least for Phil Necro anyway. So that definitely was, you kind of sent that one also further off the rails than I thought you were going to. So
I
we've
thought you
had our
said
share of that.
Negro Leagues. That's why I was confused. I
No,
never heard of that before.
no, I was like, it's like Ruckus. It was staring, like the whole thing was staring you right in the face, like the actual spelling of the name and everything.
I heard Negro. But, anyways, to your point.
Ruckus, not. Oh my. Take us to the high heat, Ruckus, before we go even further off the rails or get perceived as racist.
Honestly, it's just part of it. But, anyways. So, for this week's high heat, we are going. Which we haven't had a high heat in a while, but this week's high heat is the NBA Finals, and it kicks off with Game 1 tomorrow. When you hear this recording, it is Wednesday, but whenever you see it live, it'll be on YouTube on Thursday. June 2nd, the Celtics and Warriors face off in San Francisco on the Golden State Warriors turf. The tail of the tape is the regular season record for the Celtics is 51-31. Your Golden State Warriors are 53-29, and the home floor advantage goes to the Warriors. And despite them being a 3 seed in the conference, Boston's second seed is in theirs.
Yes. So what I mean by this is that the Golden State Warriors 53-29 record was only good enough for them to be a third seed in the league. But because sits at a better record than what Boston had with their 51-31, which was good enough for them to be technically a higher seed in their conference, Golden State gets the whole, because the two conferences are playing against each other together. Golden State, having the better record, got home floor. But as far as the path to get here, the Celtics swept the Nets, but had to gut out 2 victories in 7-game series against the Bucks and the Heat. The Warriors were able to get through a couple of their series a little quicker, not as fast in the first round, but both in the semifinal and the championship. They were quicker than the Celtics in completing their series, as they defeated the Nuggets in 5, the Grizzlies in 6, and the Mavericks in 5, with the 2-game rest advantage going to Golden State. I know I kind of cut you off there. I'm sorry, Ruckus.
Honestly, it's all good. The coaches for this are Ime Udoka. Did I say that right?
I think so.
And this is his first year as a head coach and his first NBA Finals. Steve Kerr being in 5 championships as a player and won 3 as a coach with the Golden State Warriors. The coaching advantage goes to the Warriors.
On top of that, Steve Kerr also being heavily mentored as well, because he dealt with during his runs with 5 championships as a player, he was under Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich for all of those championships before winning 3 as his own head coach. So Steve Kerr was not known for being a starter for very much of his career, more of a role player. So that kind of really benefited him a little bit more in terms of being on the bench and being around the coaching staff to be able to go to go through and actually handle the presence on the floor as a coach.
Correct. And also, here's the thing. I'm gonna go to the keys to the series. So, the key for Boston is Jason Tatum has to be the leader for the Celtics and have the do the
And there's supplemental efforts on the defensive side from Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and Robert Williams to go along with it.
correct. My bad.
And then Tatum on offense has to also be supplemented well by Al Horford and Grant Williams.
They definitely need to get through that because Al Horford to me seems like a more defensive presence than a offensive presence when it comes to the things he does. Like, yes, he can shoot a rainbow three, but not often will he be able to have the option to because of the defense that the Warriors have, let alone the offense that the Warriors have. But
Horford's also older and lacks a lot of that mobility and athleticism that he used to.
Yet again with that too, correct. And then Grant Williams will be critical as well. And then keeping the score down and denying the Warriors 3-point shooters will definitely be a big thing because for the love of God, the Mavericks could not stop them. Not even Steph Curry for that matter. He is like the king of threes. Not just like the king of threes, but he is the king of threes. Like, there's no stopping this man. He is like the machine. Like, you could put him in as a cheat code and he would still win. Like, there is no such thing as a cheat code with this man. He is a cheat code. He can get them threes. It doesn't matter how you do it. He can do it from half court and he can make you look bad.
And here's the thing with the amount of shooters that the Warriors have, or at least the amount of effective shooters that they have. If one of them has an off night, there's normally another, obviously in Klay Thompson,
Jordan Poole,
or even 2 with Jordan Poole that can pretty much take care of the shooting load or be able to pick up the slack. And then where one may not have it in the first half, they'll have it in the second half. So it they're so consistent and unpredictable as to who is shooting well that they can ride the hot hand and keep the wave going.
You could almost say that they're more sneaky than their predecessor. Because, like, the Celtics, they have Marcus Smart, they've got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and a few others that I can't really mention off the top of my head that can actually shoot. And the rest are either in the paint trying to rebound, or they are just trying to do the best they can. The Celtics against the Warriors obviously has been neck and neck. But, yes, I realize that the Warriors have more weapons with Jordan Poole. They, I believe, still have Otto Porter. I don't know his status currently as far as health-wise goes. Steph Curry, Klay, and Jordan Poole, and Draymond, and Looney. That's pretty much unstoppable. But it's going to be neck and neck no matter what.
Yeah, basically the keys I had for the Warriors were definitely capitalize on the dead-eye shooting, and they have to prevent 2 of their 3 major knockdown shooters in Curry, Thompson, or Jordan Poole, who has risen to the occasion, from getting ice cold. Defend home floor. Boston is going to pretty much need really two to steal 2 games in San Francisco to even stand a ghost of a chance in terms of how much they need to be able to send this into a deeper series than what is anticipated.
Didn't they beat Golden State at their own turf, or was that at Boston?
I don't know exactly what the matchups were, but I think if that was a split series, then that could go that this series may have a good amount of lasting.
Because to be honest, I think when we were looking before we even recorded this, I think they might have won one at Golden State, but I might be wrong. And the audience will probably be quick to correct me on that.
And also where I go with defend home floor and also be able to protect the paint. The Celtics do have players that can score across all levels. While the Warriors will have more of a 3-point shooting background, they do have Andrew Wiggins, who can be athletic and slash if the shots from outside are not falling, or just simply mix up the Celtics defense. Like cause confusion between the Celtics defense is ultimately the big thing. But the Celtics are one of the top defenses in the NBA.
Honestly, what is your most critical player?
I mean, obviously the most critical player, if we were to talk including superstars in terms of success, the most critical player in the series is going to be Jason Tatum. However, if we're talking outside of a superstar, which is what we put down, I I took a couple of different options. For the Celtics, I actually took Al Horford. And for the Warriors, I gave it to Jordan Poole.
Personally, I gave it to Robert Williams because he has a lot to prove as a player, but I think this asks a lot of him, but I'm still going for him because he's unknown at this point, and I don't know whether or not he has a contract next year. As far as the Warriors, yes, James Looney has done a lot as far as just being a team player and doing what he needs to do, but I want to see him at least dunk a few times and block more and get like more highlight reels than he gets, even if he didn't get any highlight reels with ESPN now. I want him to be a bigger player.
All right. So now that we've kind of gone through a lot more of the basics here of this whole thing, Ruckus, who you got?
All right, so my prediction, probably not the most controversial prediction, but I'm just gonna say it: Celtics in 7, because I feel like they could be unpredictable at times. And yes, the Warriors have 3-point shooters, but they haven't really had a lot of power forward help or center help to really get them to where they need. And it's mainly just been the fact that Steph Curry, Clay, and other of the Splash Bros have had the advantage of trying to get open and shoot when they could. And to be honest, like, the Celtics have Al Horford and other people to help them through that, and they have about the same amount of shooters that they could as far as the 3-point line goes. I'm just gonna say that the Celtics probably have a little bit more on their shoulder, but yeah, I just don't. It's gonna be a neck and neck match, but I think the Celtics are gonna win, and I hope they win because they haven't had one in a while. And I'm sorry to my coworker that probably listens to this, but I think the Celtics are gonna win in 7.
I went with the Warriors. I am taking Golden State in 6 because I feel like the paint can be contained a little better by Golden State. Draymond is going to be Draymond. Draymond going Draymond. That's simply the best way to put it. The Warriors still also do have Andre Iguodala, who can be a defensive, who maybe in his older years, but could very well be a defensive stopper if they need him to. And I think it's going to be very difficult for Boston to honestly predict who's going to be the top scorer for the Warriors on a given night, especially because there are so many weapons that they can go to for just about any situation. Plus, here's the real thing. I think that Udoka is going to get outcoached by Kerr in half of the games the Warriors are going to win. Half of them.
Honestly, we're just gonna have to see what happens, because you never know what's gonna happen. But yes, experience does favor in Steve Kerr, and I have no idea of the experience that Udoka has, because that kind of
This
obviously showed with the Suns and Phoenix and the New Orleans Pelicans series, where it was like a newly experienced coach versus a coach that's been there, and obviously the Pelicans lost to the Suns, but it could also go different ways. But I feel like you're probably right on that sense.
All right. So now that we've gotten through the high heat, we now enter the simulation. All right, Ruckus, which you want to talk about, the story on the top or the bottom?
I'm just gonna talk about the one on the top first. So MLB The Show has officially unveiled the next feature program called Future of the Franchise, which will begin on Friday. The program is themed around future stars, players, and will last longer than Halliday and Friends, as that was a 2-week program. They also will be releasing Lou Gehrig Day content, as well as Thursday, and the Takashi Collection reward was unveiled as Babe Ruth. Personally,
Yeah,
I'm excited for this one, because like the longer programs, I'm not gonna say that they're guaranteed to have double XP, but I'm excited for those weekends.
I like those longer programs just simply because there's a lot more to them. I think we're going to get something very, very similar to what they did for Face of the Franchise for the opening launch, and that they are going to have a good amount of future stars talent that they're bringing into the mix, which I could not be any more stoked for, simply because these cards are going to be higher overall. They're 95 overalls. They're probably going to structure it very much the same. This feels very much like a team affinity program. I just wish that they could have made the grind a little, like maybe a little more like secondary on top of like a feature program. I wish they would have had stuff to go alongside it, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it's more of a grind in the end of the day. Also, going, we're going to we're going into the not MLB, the NFL part of this discussion, whereas John Madden, rest in peace, will be gracing the cover of Madden 23 for its All Madden edition without any additional athletes. Not even Mahomes or Tom Brady, or Aaron Rodgers as the league's MVP of last year. The first time he has been on the cover since Madden 2000, and had disappeared since Madden 06, where Donovan McNabb was the cover athlete.
I think this is the right thing for EA to do. John Madden was the main guy who wanted this to happen. He wanted simulation 11 on 11 football. He was even to the point where he basically would turn down an idea because it wasn't 11 on 11. He wanted pure, authentic 11 on 11 football in video game format. And this is even back when Apple computers had it.
I remember having the mobile version of it too, not just like the console version, and it did not stack up.
Oh, the Madden Mobile is completely different. That has that has no standing on kind of what I was talking about there. I watched I didn't get to watch all Madden, but I had listened to a 30 for 30 about Madden's game that was also hosted by Will Wheat or done by Will Wheaton. And of course, Madden had his fear of flying, so he did everything along the Madden bus, and just how personable John Madden was outside of just being a sports broadcaster in the booth or a football coach on the sideline. Just the personability that John Madden had outside of those realms worked wonders. And ultimately, why I think everything that he had to even contribute to the video game project is ultimately why Madden's in the Hall of Fame. Madden had all this, all that, and deservedly so.
I think it's just a very tasteful thing for EA to do, since obviously they haven't had very ratings as far as the past Maddens, but also I think it's also good just in general to like pay tribute to John Madden, who had passed away very recently, and he was a big part of the Madden naming for the series, and also just giving the emphasis on what this game was going to be like, no matter if a cover athlete was on it or not.
Yep. And now we exit the simulation and enter the war room. Today's war room is a game of career paths. The challenge with this is that Ruckus and I will be guessing players by career path. The years of the career of the player that we are trying to guess are given along with the teams that the player played for in the correct order. Most correct wins.
Do you want
And
me to start, or do you want to start?
up to you.
I'll start. Alright.
All right.
Where do you want to go first? NBA, NFL, or MLB?
The NBA.
Alright, for this first question, the years range from 2013 to 2021. Wait, no. Never mind. You said NBA. The first year will be 2007 to the present.
Okay.
Seattle, Oklahoma City Thunder, Boston Celtics, Los Angeles Clippers, Orlando Magic, Cleveland Cavaliers, Washington Wizards, Utah Jazz, Houston Rockets, Brooklyn Nets, and then the Denver Nuggets. Who was this player?
All right. So he is currently a Denver Nugget. Currently a Denver Nugget. It's not Serge Ibaka. And you said it was 2007 to the present?
Correctamundo.
You started with the Sonics, Oklahoma City Thunder. So he started with the Thunder. Then he went where?
To the Celtics.
Currently a Nugget. And there wasn't a Bulls in there. There wasn't a Bulls in there, was there?
Nope.
Because my hunch there would have been Thomas Satoransky, but that's not it. No. Somewhere along this line, I'm gonna be kicking myself over this one because he's definitely not like a prominent player. Satoransky, Thomas Satoransky.
No. The answer
Nope.
is Jeff Green.
Jeff Green. That's actually a good one. All right, so what are you wanting? The MLB, NFL, or NBA?
NBA.
Okay. This first one I have for you is from 1998 to 2014. Warriors, Mavericks, Wizards, Cavaliers, Lakers, Clippers.
Lakers to Clippers?
Yep. Warriors, Mavericks, Wizards, Cavaliers, Lakers, Clippers.
Lamar Odom?
Nope. Nope. And the difference is that you missed a lot of the stuff that was from further back. He spent most of his time as a Wizard. Antoine Jameson.
Alright. Do you want to stay in the NBA?
Yeah, let's stay in the NBA.
Alright. This player was from 1997 to 2014.
Okay.
He started at Boston, Toronto, Denver, Minnesota, Detroit, New York, and the Clippers. New York being the Knicks.
New York Knicks. Started as Chauncey Billups.
Correctamundo.
All right. So 1-0. Do you want to stay in the NBA or do you want to change
Let's
sports?
just stay in the NBA.
Okay. All right. The career timeline is from 2002 to 2016. Heat, Lakers, Wizards, Mavericks, Clippers, Bucks, Thunder, Pistons, Kings.
Can I buy a vowel?
Oh, were you at what were you needing? Just
I need
too
a
many
hint.
teams. All right. So for the first two teams, this player was dealt in the Shaquille O'Neal trade.
Alright,
So,
I honestly
so
give up.
Tough Juice. His nickname is Tough Juice.
I still don't know.
That's Caron Butler.
I didn't know he was named that, to be honest with you, but it is what
but
it
here's
is.
the thing: he went from the Lake. Yeah, I was saying the Heat to the Lakers. He was that deal in 2005. That was the deal that sent Shaq to Miami.
Oh.
Caron Butler was a part of that deal.
Isn't he living happily now, or is he the one that...
Something like that.
Because there was another Butler that passed away, I thought, but that's hearsay, nor say.
But he was also... But here was the funny thing. The two players I picked were Wizards teammates.
Was one of them Baron Davis?
No. I had Caron Butler and Antoine Jameson. The third member of that was the third member of that was, of course, Gilbert Arenas.
There you go. All right.
Major League Baseball.
All right. The year was 1992 till 2011. He started with the Expos, then went to the...
Stop. You and I both have the same one. It's Matt Stairs.
Yep.
You and I have the same one, so we're both going to get that. We both thought the same thing. That was... I had the Expos, then I had the Japanese League with the Dragons and the Red Sox, A's, Cubs, Brewers, Pirates, Royals.
Yep.
I had that one. I had that one down. That was one of my 10 steppers that I had. It wasn't the only one, but it was one that I definitely had.
Yeah.
So we're both getting a point on that one.
So 2-1.
Yep. All right. So where are you wanting to go, Ruckus?
Major leagues.
Okay. The years are from 1979 to 2003. Athletics, Yankees, Athletics, Blue Jays, Athletics, Padres, Angels, Mets, Mariners, Padres, Red Sox, Dodgers.
Gosh, I don't even know this one.
3 stints with the Oakland Athletics. And the funny thing is, he was mentioned earlier in the episode.
Man, I'm gonna have to phone a friend on this one.
He was mentioned in the sports history episode or section of this podcast.
All right, that gives me a cheat sheet. So
That he was mentioned in this. You're not gonna get the point for it. You're not gonna get the point for it because I kind of gave you
Ricky
the whole
Henderson.
section. Yeah, it was Ricky Henderson.
All right.
You're not gonna get the point for it, but
fair enough.
But I'm I mentioned him, and that was why I said I was he was mentioned earlier in the episode.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know he had 3 stints with the A's, so that's on me. But yeah. All right, what's your next one?
Major League Baseball.
All right, this was from 2004 to 2017.
Okay.
He played with the Texas Rangers, San Diego Padres, New York Mets, Seattle Mariners, and then Kansas City.
And you said the 2017?
Correct.
Okay. So he started out as a Texas Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Repeat the path.
San Diego, New York Mets, Seattle, and then Kansas City.
So it would have been somebody who went from the Mariners to the Royals, and you said it was 2004 to 2017.
Correct.
Man, these are good. Like, these are good. I may have to change this up and kind of also say, like, how many years spent, but it's hard trying to figure out all these deals from, like, so far back.
What are you thinking on your mind?
I'm between a couple.
What are your top three?
Was he a world champion with the Royals? Was he a
Yes.
member of the champion? Was he a member of the championship team? Alex Gordon.
No.
Okay. I'm probably gonna kick myself over this too, because I probably should have gotten it.
What was your second choice?
Well, I said Alex Gordon. I was kind of going along with that guess.
Alex Gordon has not played with any other team besides the Royals.
Oh, he was only a Royal, yeah.
The answer was Chris Young.
Oh, Chris Young. That was a good one.
I honestly thought you'd get it, to be honest.
Was that the Chris with the C or the K?
The C.
Ah.
He's now the general manager of the Texas Rangers, to be on. By the way.
I got you. Okay, are you wanting your last baseball one?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna laugh because there's quite a few repeated teams here, or at least another repeated team. Okay, the career path is from 1991 to 2007. Astros, Indians, Braves, Indians, White Sox, Giants, Pirates, Cubs, Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers, Rangers, Indians.
Alberto Mora.
Nope. I think we definitely need to make sure that we give positions the next time through on this. I think we need
Most
to make sure of
definitely.
that.
Who was it?
Last year he had a White Sox card, but he has an Indians card in this year's MLB The Show. Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton.
Yeah, we most definitely need to do position next time, because it was more just like, alright,
Yeah.
who's the journeyman?
Yeah, because I think some of these definitely, like, if you break it down, yeah, like, probably positions maybe a little bit more, or kind of like something with a little bit more information. But I mean, these are definitely, like, we've definitely challenged each other this time around.
Yeah. Alright, where do you want to go next?
But I also went to my, like, my wild card was already done because my extra wild card was a baseball. So where was your wild card? Was it in the NFL, the NBA, or MLB?
MLB.
MLB. How many MLB do I have left from you?
You're done with the MLB.
Or I'm done with the MLB? Oh, we're down to the NFL.
Because my wild card is another MLB, but yeah. Alright.
Was that wild card because we both had Matt Stairs?
No. I had Matt Stairs and Chris Young.
Oh, you had Matt Stairs, Chris Young. Oh, so I do have one more MLB.
Right.
Oh, then let's go with that then. Then we'll go to the NFL.
Alright. Currently the wild card on my list. He played from 97 to 2010. He started with the Pittsburgh Pirates, went to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, also known now as the Tampa Bay
The Rays.
Rays,
The Rays. Okay.
Arizona Diamondbacks, Cincinnati Reds, Oakland Athletics, Anaheim Angels, Nationals, Seattle Mariners, Kansas City Royals, San Francisco Giants.
Any World Series titles?
No, sir.
Okay, so he did not win in Arizona. He did not win in San Francisco.
He did not win any titles.
Yeah, and of course there was a notable team that because Aubrey Huff was never a national. Aubrey Huff was an Oriole.
Hell of a player.
Hmm. You started out in Pittsburgh, went to Tampa. Just to make sure I have the specifics here, was he an expansion team player to the Rays? Was he with the Rays in 1998? Was he an expansion draft pick?
I don't think so.
Hmm. Why am I thinking this is Ben Grieve?
Incorrect.
No, because but that's like too far along.
I'm just saying incorrect as far as that. I'm not officially saying it yet. I'm trying to see what you're actually thinking.
Repeat the path again.
Pittsburgh Pirates, Tampa Bay Devil Rays, Arizona Diamondbacks, Cincinnati Reds, Oakland Athletics, Anaheim Angels, Washington Nationals, Seattle Mariners, Kansas City Royals, and San Francisco Giants.
Did not win a world championship in Kansas City. And you said this was from 97 to 17?
To 2010.
Oh, 2010. All right. Tony Womack?
Incorrect. The
That was
name was an outfielder named Jose Guillen.
Jose Guillen. Ah.
I grew up on him because he was a semi-decent player, but also just kind of was one of those players that the Royals signed because he was relevant, but also he was declining.
Oh man. Oh, now I'm gonna have to double check this because
I
what I'm wanting to double check is I'm wanting to. Oh, he was a year off from being a. He was there in '99, but did not go. He didn't go to Tampa in '98. That's a good. That's a good one. That's a good one. I went. I should have went with like. Oh, he signed after the. He signed after they had already won the championship.
Yeah, I went off a baseball reference.
Ah.
I didn't go off of. I mean,
No,
obviously, I
no,
knew
I
he
knew where
was
you
on
were going.
different teams.
No, it was like that's where I messed up. I took Tony Womack, but I forgot Tony Womack was on the 2001 team.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so now you're all right. So I know I
2-1
only
still.
have yeah. And how many do you have left? Two?
Um. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, cuz I only have two left technically.
All right. What is it in the NFL?
Yep.
Same here.
Okay. So for mine, 2006 to 2018, Broncos, Dolphins, Bears, Jets, Giants, Seahawks, Saints.
Brandon Marshall.
Yep. Yep. Brandon Marshall.
All right, here's my first one. He's a quarterback, person that throws the ball to the wide receiver. All right. He started in the year 2013 for the Houston Texans. Then he went to the St. Louis Rams before they became the LA Rams. Then he went to Minnesota. Then he went to the Broncos. Then he went to the
Case
Washington
Keenum.
Command.
Case
Yep.
Keenum. Okay. My last one. From 2002 to 2020. Cardinals, Lions, Raiders, Dolphins, Panthers, the UFL's Colonials, the 49ers, the Bears, Buccaneers, Browns, Jets, Eagles, Texans.
What did he play?
Quarterback.
And what were the last three?
Jets, Eagles, Texans.
And he was a quarterback, not a cornerback.
Quarterback, QB.
What was the first team?
Cardinals.
And then he played in the UFL.
And he had a stint in the UFL.
Gosh. Let's. I feel like we should tie it at this point. I don't know.
That's Josh McCown. That's Josh McCown.
Okay.
I thought the last three were going to be the ones that were going to get you. Jets, Eagles, Texans. Or that were actually going to get you to it.
Was he a backup QB?
Yeah, he kind of went around like everywhere.
Kind of figured.
Yep. And my last NFL.
Alright. He went from 2005 to 2021 currently. He played for the Rams, the Bengals, the Bills, the
Ryan
Titans.
Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yep. I knew that was going to be like I knew as soon as you said Rams, I'm like I've documented this career because I've seen him live as a Jet. So I think I got that one 4-2. So this one was definitely harder.
Yep.
All right, Ruckus. So your weekly studs and duds to kind of wrap us out.
Alright, so my stud for this week was across the pond in Ohio, and that is Jose Ramirez for being Player of the Week for the American League. As far as the dud, however, is on the same team, but he is a rookie player that played right field at the time. Oscar Gonzalez throwing the ball into the crowd in right field where there were only 2 outs, which made it apparent to Andrew Benintendi that he went from first to second, I believe.
Yeah. All right. I think mine had a little bit more detail. All right, so my stud, another primetime performer. I could have went with Trey Turner, who had a 22 game hit streak, but I think this one holds a little bit more water, and that is Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie has been hitting incredibly in the month of May. He set the Cardinals mark for extra base hits in the month of May, and is also on a 21 game hit streak. All right, so I'm also going to look at hit streaks right now to see if both of those streaks are still active. Goldschmidt and Trey Turner are still active at 22 and 23 apiece, or respectively, as they are the largest streaks active. JD Martinez has an 18 game hit streak in the American League, but right now the DiMaggio chase is not quite on, as we are still only in the low 20s for Trey Turner and Paul Goldschmidt right now. My dud comes in the form of a little bit more hilarity and oddness to the story. Reds outfielder Tommy Pham is my dud for this week. Took a 3-game suspension for pulling a Will Smith on Jock Peterson by slapping him over a fantasy football dispute, and then blaming the commissioner of that league, who happened to also be Mike Trout, for what caused the issue between Pham and Peterson. So yeah, these guys may be playing fantasy football, but it's just got real. When somebody having to pull the Will Smith and just smack that crap out of Jock Peterson, and Jock Peterson's not a small dude. So yeah, I gave Tommy Pham the dud for it's like one of the dumbest and pettiest reasons to take a 3-game suspension.
Honestly, I would have given him like a 2-game or 1-game suspension, but even then, this is all silly and kind of a soft reason why uh they should either be suspended or whatnot. Like, yes, they had a little brawl, but in the end, it was for something little. Like, it was something that wasn't even really in their control. So, like, at the same time, grow up. At the same time, like, maybe the MLB needs to realize that some things don't matter. Like, yes, in a physical standpoint, maybe it makes sense, but off the field, leave things off the field, but at the same time, like, don't be as soft on things.
The issue happened on the field because of an off-field thing.
Right,
So
but it wasn't like anything racial or anything like that, is what I'm trying to say. Like, they didn't say anything to each other that was either racist or just like something that was just like off color, like, whoa, like maybe you should like calm down a little bit. It was like over something like let's say like you got mad over like someone like killing you in a game of Call of Duty where you're someone was like, "Oh, I quick scoped you," and then someone said, "Oh, you hard scoped me." Like, no one cared at the end of the day. That's how I felt on this, where it was like, okay, someone got mad over something dumb virtually. Like, who cares at the end of the day? Just like man up and just like accept defeat or just be like good game. Like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. A game is a game. But at the same time, the MLB needs to like chill on that.
But those guys were definitely playing in that fantasy football league to try and do a little bit more lining in their pockets. Because you know it ain't funny when you talk about somebody's money. You know it ain't funny when it's talking about somebody else's money.
Maybe the MLB needs to be more just understand what's going on instead of just pretending to, because the whole spider tech incident kind of left a uh, bad taste in the MLB's mouth, and then the whole
That was
thing.
that was more due to the integrity of the game. That's
But
different.
also they suspended Trevor Bauer for like a season or more because of something he didn't do, which kind of puts me in a bad spot because like he was a Cy Young winner before that, and he obviously didn't do anything wrong, which that's
Wait,
hearsay, but still.
wait. Are we talking? Are we talking about the whole, like his whole like outside of off the field?
Yes. I'm
Oh
talking
well,
about his off the field
yeah,
because
yeah.
I listened to his
The
testimony.
yeah the DV issues that other MLB players had been suspended for in the past that clearly were. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, there's sometimes it's very hard to tell like who's lying and who's telling the truth. Sometimes.
Especially between opposite sexes, like yes, but I feel like this one he didn't do anything wrong but yet still got suspended because of the suspicion of it, and he pled not guilty to it and still like got out of the case, whereas like other players have actually committed that, like Chapman and many others, and they only got like half a season suspended for them. I feel like that's bullcrap, because like he didn't do anything wrong yet. Like they're like, oh, he's still he or he still like broke like a rule even though he didn't. Like that's stupid to me.
I mean, the nature of the whole thing is just messy AF. It's just
Yeah.
messy.
Either way, like it's kind of just messy, like you were just saying. But I was definitely upset. You could probably tell by my Twitter if you follow my Twitter, but even if you don't, like, it's still upsetting because he's a good player, even though there's some messiness towards it. But yeah, do you wanna close this out?
Yep. All right, Ruckus, fire him away with that Twitter handle.
All right, my Twitter is at Ruckus Sports 97. That is RUCKUS Sports 97.
And mine is Menace, the DA in the middle, just simply because Twitter just loves to rob me of a character for my Twitter handle. But that's beside the point. I've already gone through that enough. But that concludes it for the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. And with that, you could keep in contact with us through our Twitter handles or through the comments of the YouTube videos, or just keep listening to us via all of our other podcast podcast applications, and there are a good amount of them. Ruckus is
Especially Amazon Music, Spotify, Anchor, which is also owned by Spotify, um, Stitcher, and a few others. We will try. I will once again try to do Apple Podcasts, but I'm not promising that. But we are definitely on Amazon Music, Stitcher, Anchor, which is owned by Spotify, and YouTube. So check us out on there. Also check out AlexMan47 for his awesome graphic design, awesome voiceovers and gameplay and streams. He streams on twitch.tv/AlexMan47.
Have a good night, y'all.
Have a good one.